Back to very important domestic issues here, because when we look at our economy, the good news, we've all been marvelling at how our low unemployment has maintained itself, and we've also seen healthy jobs growth over recent years. But it turns out that the jobs growth is mainly happening in the public sector, taxpayer-funded jobs, and jobs growth in the private sector has actually collapsed. Now, this news is even worse when you compare sectors of the economy. The non-market sectors, like health and education and the like, account for virtually all of the growth, while the market economy has been struggling. Let me bring in economist Leith Van Onselen, now co-founder of Macro Business. Good to talk to you again, Leith. I think this is fascinating. This is such important analysis you've pointed out here, because it's not great for us, our long-term future, if all the growth in the economy is coming in taxpayer-funded jobs and jobs that don't create wealth. In fact, it's going to create a burden for us, isn't it, long-term?
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Look, we have an artificial jobs market at the moment. So we've obviously got an unemployment rate of 4.1%, and that's great. But that's coming despite the fact that the economy is experiencing a really deep per capita recession. And the latest quarterly report from the ABS showed that the market sector, so that's basically a private sector, gained only 6,000 jobs over the year to March. And that's against a population increase of about 650,000. So while the market sector did that, the government-aligned sector added 316,000 jobs, and of that, 218,000 of those alone was for the healthcare and social assistance industry, which is basically related to the NDIS. So we've got a situation whereby the private sector is reflecting the weak economy, but obviously with all that job creations in the government-aligned sectors, which are obviously relying on taxpayer money, and most of that's coming from the NDIS, which we're spending about $40 billion a year currently. So it's not particularly sustainable.
It's absolutely unsustainable. The private economy that funds the taxes is getting weaker, yet the jobs relying on taxpayer money are growing. And this focus on the NDIS is fascinating, because I've heard this anecdotally from people in business. They say they are finding it hard to recruit and maintain staff because they've got easier and more lucrative work being offered through the NDIS. Is this a problem in our jobs market?
Yeah, basically the NDIS is basically sucking up most of the labour across the economy, or certainly all the spare labour. And as I said, it's costing just over $40 billion a year currently. And according to the Parliamentary Budget Office, it's projected to cost about $100 billion in 10 years. That's $100 billion a year. And that would basically put it on par with the age pension. So this also creates a longer-term problem for the economy, because government-aligned jobs tend to experience lower productivity growth.
Yep.
So obviously, if you're going to have this big growth in government-aligned areas like NDIS jobs, it's going to reduce Australia's productivity growth. And indeed, Productivity Commission Chairwoman Danielle Wood last week said that productivity in other sectors is going to have to increase to offset the cost of the NDIS on Australia's productivity.
Worrying stuff, Leith. We'll come back to it. Thanks so much for joining us. Leith Van Onselen there. That is worrying news, isn't it, when you pick through the numbers and see what's really happening.